So how long, like, if you're someone who wants to, like, in the back of your mind is like, look, I really want to work with this LP, but I don't want to be too needy and ask them very straight up. When is that right time? Because if you're trying to collaborate with them, I think that's really great, and you want to make sure that they become more active than passive as an
Mhm.
LP. But when is at that time? Is it like, when is it an inexact science when you figure out, okay, maybe it feels right that I should now maybe ask him or her to sort of thinking about investing in the fund? Or, do you just straight up say it and then look, after a couple of weeks, after 2 weeks, what is the strategy there?
Yeah, it's the magic question. I wish it was an easy answer, like you talk to someone three times and then after three times you can ask them for their money. It's not black or white. It's clear as mud, in fact. So I think it's a difficult one to address, but you bring up a good theme, which is, how do you generate momentum while fundraising? How can you continue on conversations while not feeling like a buzzy bee at the back of the LPs, constantly following up with them, and you perhaps sometimes getting limited response, which is going to happen to the best of us. So I think what's important to do is that, as a fund manager, as the founder of that fund, you're running the game clock, you're running the game. So the moment that you say, hey, I'm fundraising, and you give any signal of that to the outside world, which includes these collaborative conversations, the clock has started. And so you're the coach, you're the player, you determine how long you want to run that clock for. Um, we can talk about like average times it takes to raise a fund. And of course, that's only lengthening now due to the market conditions. But yeah, I wish I had a clear answer for you, but unfortunately, it's kind of a sense and feel, and every individual relationship is different. But I can say that if you clearly run the clock with each of your LPs, as soon as one dips in, you can kind of start this feeling of a snowball, and then the momentum will carry other LPs forward, and you can kind of nudge folks along by saying, I want to keep this friends and family, close friends. Here's the update on how much we've closed to date. Would love to include you in that group. Are you interested? A month later or so, they haven't responded. Hey, understand that we're all busy, but just want to check in. Haven't heard from you for a while. Going to assume that you're not interested in the opportunity, and respectively take you off the list to be respectful to both of our times. Let me know if something changes on your end, in hope of them following up. But like I said, it's important to follow up with LPs, but you don't want to chase at a detriment of your own time, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. And I agree with you. It's always tough to figure out because every LP is different. It's not like you can just treat them all the same and just send a blanket email to all the LPs within your network. Everyone has different needs. Everyone figures out what their sort of sweet spot is. So you really have to treat every LP like as the only specific LP that you're really focused on. And that
Yeah.
obviously can be time consuming because if you're dealing with potentially 100 LPs, then you're going to have to really maintain those strong relationships. And I think that ties in with the momentum side of things as well, because I think with the momentum, you really have to really create that sense of like urgency, as you mentioned, and that FOMO effect. But I like the way that you said that you have to really put a deadline on it or a time frame to say,
Yeah.
because if it becomes more open and open, then you're just giving them the ability to sort of come in when they need to. And
Mhm.
that doesn't bode well for both sides. So I think time frame, urgency, and making sure that there's some level of commitment there, whether it be soft, at least you have something verbal. Is that important to get a soft commitment from them?
Um, I think yes and no. I think people indicate soft commitments in different ways. I wouldn't be turned off if you didn't get a soft commitment of like, I'm interested in 100K or 5 million with a dollar amount associated to it. However, I think that you can see soft commitments by them offering to continue to spend time with you, or to by introducing you to some of their friends or people that they know to have conversations with, so you can get other people's feedback. I think soft interest can be shown in different ways outside of a dollar commitment, and so I think using your best judgment to nail on that. And then they just going back to another thing that you said about fundraising can take a lot of time, and if you have 100 or so LPs in the pipeline, what's someone to do with only 24 hours a day, and how can they manage that all? And I think that goes back to the importance of having an ICP, an ideal customer profile for your LP. So let's make the analogy, which many do, that fundraising is a lot like sales. And you're selling at the same time, you're trying to get new leads. You're like a BDR, but you're also an account manager. You're trying to keep your existing LPs or those further along in the pipe very happy and make the experience feel very personalized. And so if you have 100 LPs in the pipeline, or the more you have, the harder it gets. And so that's why I think it's so important to spend the time upfront to craft who are you truly targeting and who will resonate most with your pitch. And so I'm double clicking on this, or clicking on it a few times, because I think the importance of spending the time up front to understand what your story is and who it'll resonate with will only give, great benefits later on when you're with a specific curated list of LPs that you can truly personalize each and every experience, and you're not overextended with your bandwidth.